Hello everybody and welcome back to the HTAB YouTube channel, and today you find me back here in the model railway room. And not today, we've got another review. It's a shunter, another blue one, but this time it's the polar opposite to the Class 07. It's this. And that model is of course here, the Hornby Class 06 in the railroad range. It's undetailed, it's out of scale, but it's got that iconic look to it. It's just like, well, Hornby have made this for years and it's been in their range, and I'm pretty sure as an OO gauge modeler, everyone's seen one. Is that true? I don't know. I've seen one. I've got one here. In fact, I've got 4 of them. Look, 4, that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And they're all, well, in their boxes. They don't run the best, they're too quick, but this one is in fact geared quite slowly. So, we're going to have a look at it today, see what it's got on offer, if you will, in detail, because I know it's not worth that much, but obviously this is like the newest one that I own out of the bunch. And this was actually bought brand new in this box. I don't have the boxes for the other one because I've got like a virgin one, some sort of industrial one, which was fairly nasty out of the box, but that's because it was second hand, but it runs okay now. And I've got another blue one, but that's an old one with the faster gearing that is weathered and, well, beaten, if you will. This one is pristine, it's reasonably new, and I just want to check it out and see how well it compares directly to the next consecutively numbered locomotive, the Class 07, which is what we looked at in the last review. That was by Heljan, this is of course by Hornby, and obviously no other manufacturers make the Class 06, and, well, we'll see, is there a need to? In this video, basically. So, with that said, we'll go down there, we'll unbox it, and I'll show you it for the first time. So then, here we are down on the ground with the Hornby Railroad Class 06. And you can already see it there through the front, because this model never came with like a sheet over the front that blanks out the model and gives it any sort of protection, suggesting that it doesn't have much detail, it's cheap, and it's built on a budget. Well, that's what it is. It's a budget model. It's a beginner model, hence why it's in the railroad range, as you can see by the text on the box. And, well, this model will reflect that, as you'll see throughout this video. So, what's the end of the box say then? Well, this is R3065 BR Class 06 Diesel 06008. That's the running number, barcode's there, you don't need that. Rest of the box then, just usual guff really, 12 volts obviously, because that's what it runs on. Not suitable for people between 0 and 3, which, well, I'm not, and possibly people watching this video aren't. I'd be slightly concerned if a 2-year-old was watching YouTube, but whatever, the world has come to these days. Right, let's open it, shall we? A little bit of a stiff box, this one. It's quite an old box, because, well, it's been opened and closed several times in its life. Right, we'll just tip it upside down like this, and it hasn't come out. There we go. Right, we don't need that. There is in fact a detail back and some instructions have come out, but we'll have a look at these first. What have we got here then? We've got some vacuum pipes that you could fit to the buffer beam. That's nice to see. At least they've included some sort of detail with this budget shunter. Right, we'll put them, in fact we'll just put them back in there because we don't need them for the part. What's this then? We've got some locomotive operation and maintenance, 040 locomotives, HP motor, Houses of Parliament source. That's not what that means, but just some basic stuff about the Hornby 040s, which are of course quite iconic within the country and, well, within the Hornby range themselves. So there we go. Read at your own leisure, but you don't have to, because if you buy this model, link in the description, this will come with it. Right, we don't need that now though. For now, we'll take the locomotive out. Can I... Oh, it's a little bit stiff. These box designs are very, well, awkward because you have to poke it, and where you're poking it is on, like, one of the only bits of detail that the model has to offer, but I don't really want to rag the model. It's stuck. This is a silly design, Hornby. Why is it so tight? I don't want to break it, but I'm sort of going to have to push, because this side of the box, where the cab is like really stiff. Right, it's coming, and it's quite a weighty thing. It's got some good weight to it, and that's because of the metal, the metal running plate, which these models have, which is a nice feature of these models, by the way. Nice and heavy, gives them that bit of weight, which is of course what you need for a model that lacks detail, but overall it looks quite good. It's quite representative of the real thing, but I'll let you decide on that as the video goes on. For now though, here it is. You can see it's blue. The paint looks quite nice, but again we'll have a closer look at that in a minute. And well, I don't know if you can see from there, but there isn't much detail. I've pointed that out already, haven't I? But there's an idea. There's not much, meaning that another manufacturer could make an 06 up to modern standards. Hell-jam. But yeah, whatever. It's here. It's in my hands, and for now, at this moment in time as I speak, in February 2025, there is only one Class 06 on the market in double O-gauge here in the UK. Right, should we have some history on the Class 06 in real life? Yeah, I think that's the answer. The British Rail Class 06 was a class of 040 diesel mechanical shunter built by Andrew Barclay and Sons from 1958 to 1960 for use on the Scottish region of British Railways. They're originally numbered D2410 to D2444, and survivors after 1973 were given the TOPS numbers 06001 to 06010, like the model represented in the video today. With the decline in shunting, BR was forced to reduce its shunter fleet in the 1960s and 70s, resulting in mass withdrawals of locomotives. The first Class 06 locomotive to be withdrawn was D2441 in March 1967, just 7 years after it was built. And the last one, 06002, formerly D2414, was withdrawn in September 1981. One locomotive is preserved, however, and that is 06003. Right then, we're now down here on the ground, up close and personal, with the Hornby Class 06. And I think the main thing to know about this is that it isn't a professional model, hence why it's in the railroad range. And I presume, well, it always has been in the railroad range. And I suppose it's always been a cheap and, well, budget model, if you will. But to be honest, for the fact that it is in the railroad range and it is a budget model, it's quite well done for what it is. Yes, I know it's not designed to be a professional model for professional modelers. That's why it's in the railroad range. But for what it is, I think it's quite nice. And the main thing to, well, for any model really, is the livery. Obviously, BR Blue, an iconic livery, and Hornby have done it quite well. Nice satin finish on it. It's a little bit matte. It's not shiny, which is fine. That's what you expect. It's a diesel. And the printing on it is also done nicely too. We've got the BR arrows there, just there, the things on the side. No scratching, no misprints, nicely printed. On the side of the cab, we've got 06008, obviously the running number there. Again, nicely done. And the paint, like all over, is nice. Like we've got the wash stripes here on the front. No bleeding really. There's a little bit of a scratch there and a bit of, well, sort of mismatching on the top there. But again, it's a railroad model. I don't suppose they've put thousands of hours of effort into painting that by hand. I suppose some machine's just done it somewhere, obviously in China, where it was made. And the buffer beams are of course picked out in yellow too, along with the coupling rods. And there's not really much else in terms of paint. Obviously we've got the wash stripes on the other end too. Again, nicely done. Very nice indeed. I like the look of them. And the paint, as far as that, is good. In terms of actual detail then, well, it's fairly limited, isn't it? There's not much. Like, starting at the front, what can I say? There's a grill that does this. It's got a bit of a texture to it, as I've knocked the model backwards. There we go. And on the buffer beam, there's a hook, but obviously it's just moulded, and there's a little hole next to that where that air pipe can go. At least they were provided. That's nice. Obviously on this model, we've just got plastic buffers that aren't sprung. As you can see, they're just, well, fixed into point and place. And below that, on each end, we've just got the large D-type coupling, which is very common in the railroad range. Around this area too, we've got some steps. They're obviously metal because the running plate is metal, which is nice. That's good to see. But they're quite chunky. There's no, like, little bits moulded onto them. They're just steps, really. And above that, what are these things exactly?
same question is being asked here. I have no idea. I presume they're some sort of like grab rail handle things, but they're large, they're chunky, and they're pretty out of scale. Just like the, well, remainder of the model really, it's pretty large. It's just based on a standard 040 Hornby chassis, which in turn aren't in scale anyway. And the body is massive, because like the height of this is the same height as like a standard Mark 1 coach, which obviously for the real thing isn't quite right. Obviously they're not this large and sort of fat in real life, if you will, but it's fine. Again, railroad, it can be excused. Further along the running plate then, we've got some toolboxes. Are they on both sides? Yep, they are on both sides. I was just checking there over the top. We've got some sort of chest toolbox things with some bits of moulded detail printed onto them. They're done quite nicely. Again, they're in the blue colour that represents, well, BR Blue as a whole on the whole model. That's good to see. And along the side, we've got the little sort of, what would you call them, openings so you can get inside it. They've got little handles that are just moulded. No separately fitted details there. But there is actually one or two separately fitted details on the model. Yes, two overall, roughly. And that's actually this really fine and nicely done metal wire handrail along the side. Look at that. That's really splendid. I like how that's done. And it's also been picked out in blue. How fine does that look? That's perfect. That's what you want. Yeah, well done, well done. The other separately fitted piece is, of course, the horn on top. That's just plastic. It's sagging, it's drooping. There's two of them as a little low tone and the high tone there at the top. Yep, that's just there, as I say. And again, on the top, there's some more moulded details. It's all encased in dust because I hardly run this model, it just sits in its box. But there's some thing for the exhaust pipe here, a representation of it. Obviously, that's just plastic, so you can't really tell what it is. It just looks like a tube of Pringles. And then there's another opening on top. What's this thing? Is that the fuel tank? I'm not too sure, to be honest. Something or other like that. And then there's this raised section here, which is just moulded on as well. The cab area is quite nice, as I said. There's the 06, 008 prints on there at the start. That's nicely done. And above that, there's a small area where a builder's plate in real life would be. And also above that, to the left, I thought it was separately fitted, but it's not. In fact, it's just a tiny little moulded handrail that you can't even tell from like a distance away. It's just not been picked out or anything, it's just been left blue, same as the builder's plate. But to the right of that, either side of the door, there is at least some sort of white picking out on these handrails, so you can see they're there. In terms of the door, we've got some glazing on there. That's not flush with the outside of the window, but again, railroad, it's fine. There's a handrail there, handle there. I was just getting distracted by the beautiful handrails at either side. No, there's a handle on the door there that's just been moulded on with some other details around. The cab's got windows, obviously, but none of them are flush either. They're just sort of embedded. I presume that's just one giant glazing piece that wraps itself around, so not much detail put into there. And the back of the cab, we've got some lamp brackets moulded on there. We've got obviously another one of those giant couplings and no strong buffers on the back. Be weird if there was on the back, but not. And there's the wasp striping done relatively decently too on the back. There's just a nice close-up shot of that as I'm knocking the model with this tool. On top of the cab, there's sort of an opening thing, but obviously it's not positioned or anything. And, well, that's about it for here. And really, that's about it. Yeah, there's not much to it, as I said. But then again, it is a budget model. It's in the railroad range, or was in the railroad range at the time of purchase at least. I don't know if it is now. Again, link in the description if there's any around. But yeah, to answer the question though, at the start, should another manufacturer make another one? So far after looking at the detail, yes, they should. Another manufacturer should have a go at it, whatever Hornby's reaction is. But then again, this is based on a Class 06, but Hornby didn't model it to be a Class 06, if you will. They modelled it to be a toy, or a beginner model, something that somebody could get started with. Like all of these locos, the Caledonian tank, the weird Great Western thing, some other things that they've created in the latter years, and of course, the Bagley Drury Shunter thing that was featured in my Christmas video of 2024. Yeah, another manufacturer should do it. They should stab in the dark, just go for it, and see, well, what they can achieve. Maybe Helljan, maybe some new manufacturer like Accurascale, Rapido, someone like that. I don't know. Someone should just go for it, and, well, they will succeed. With modern stuff, even NEM pockets, or even if Hornby upgraded this themselves, which I highly doubt will do, but you never know what the future has for this model, or the hobby itself, especially in terms of Class 06s. But for now though, we're going to take it to the railway and do a bit of performance testing to see how well it runs. And again, afterwards, we'll answer the question again, should a manufacturer make this in terms of performance? And then at the end, we'll do a little sum up and answer my question properly. Is that what we're going to do? I believe yes. So then, you now find us here on the railway with the Hornby Railroad Class 06, number 06008, in the BR Blue with wasp striped livery. And I'm going to say it looks good. I like how it looks. Detail, well, I'd say adequate for a railroad locomotive. Some bits of it are nicer than others, but overall it looks good. I think the paint sort of brings it to life, to be honest. It's quite comparable to the 07, just over there. In terms of paint, the paint's done to an equal level of crispness, if you will. And the blue itself, well, yeah, it's a different shade of blue. On the 07, I'd say it's slightly more, slightly more satin, whereas this is more matte. But whatever, we're not talking about paint right now. We're here to do some performance. So, I'm going to apply some power, and from memory, this runs quite nicely. Nicer than some of my other Hornby 040s, such as the likes of the Pug that I've got, the BR Black Pug, which I know is another nice runner, but from memory, I've not run this in a while, so it might be a little bit ropey, but we'll have a look. Right, I'm going to apply some power. Just going to go forwards, I believe. Right, let's go. Oh, I was wrong. Yeah. It certainly moves. That's good. Yeah, it's really smooth. I like that. It's quite noisy, like do a lot of these Hornby 040s, because obviously they're just for, well, train sets really, but it's really nice. As it says, it picks up from all four wheels, so there's no chance of it stopping really on points and stuff like the dead zone here, the plastic insulated bit, but it's really smooth. It's not stopped yet, and the track is clean. I cleaned it just before the review, so that's nice. No performance issues so far. Should we see what a crawl looks like then? Well, it's already pretty much creeping towards the camera, but how slow can we go? Right, it's cogging slightly, but that's because it hasn't got a flywheel. Right, it's going quite slow. Yeah, I think that's about it. But then again, that's quite adequate and what you need. Backwards. Yeah, perfect for shunting. Just wonderful. Fantastic. Right, we'll send it out of shot to the right and we'll do a bit of point testing, shall we? Let's go. Right, here it comes then, the 06 across the points. As you can see there, not stopping. That's good. Right, we'll flick open the switch, just like that. And we'll do a bit of point testing. So, we'll see if it derails. Hopefully not, but if it does, that's just content. Yep, at that speed, completely fine. Not much of a clunk either. The other way, yeah, fine. The nice chunky Hornby wheels also help, like fine scale wheels often bump off the track better, but the track's suited to more thicker wheels, so that's a slight bonus for this loco. Yep, and that's the top speed, nice and geared slow. Bit of a thud going that way, but then again, no derailments in that sense, so that's all good. The 07, I can't remember how that performed on here, but obviously that had 6 wheels and this has just got 2. But the wheelbase on this is probably the same sort of width apart, these two, to the 07. Obviously the 07 has got really fine scale wheels. But in terms of performance overall, for if you're going to make a brand new spanking Class 06 with the likes of Helljan, Rapido, Acura scale, we're going to make it, would the performance need to be altered? Well, no. The performance is good. It crawls. As you can see, that wasn't a crawl, but it goes slowly, I should say. And performance in terms of like actual, well, running is good. it can go slow, smoothly. It doesn't stutter. It's not too noisy. The one thing I would improve in it though is probably putting a flywheel in it, because the model inside, the Hornby, HP motor, that's what it was called, Houses of Parliament motor, doesn't have a flywheel attached. That could be a thing, but did the 07 have one? I genuinely can't remember, but a flywheel would definitely improve like this. So let's say you were just going at full speed, it just stops dead, as opposed to sort of gradually stopping, such as the likes of the Bachmann Class 25, for example. But then again, the new Bachmann Class 24, which was similar to the 24 in the olden days to the 25, didn't have a flywheel, so that's a feature taken out of that model. But then again, this model, we're not speaking about a big diesel at this rate, just speaking about a small locomotive, is good. And the performance is good as well. Right, we're going to go and couple up to a train now and do a bit of running, shall we? Right, let's see that. And I thought, as this locomotive is a shunter, and that's its primary role as a locomotive, I'd come to the yard. So, there it is on the right. We're going to couple up to this also D-type coupling, the Lima, Mark 1 Buffy coach here. And it hasn't actually coupled. I'm not blaming that on the locomotive though, I'm blaming that on the coach. Wait a second. Right, I've just switched the coach around. Hopefully this end can actually couple. As we go the wrong way, that's a great start. There we go, absolutely perfect. Right, we'll take this out of shot and we'll do a bit of shunting. So then, that is the little shunting session. I'm not calling it a running session because we didn't really run it, but we did, but we shunted, because that's the sole purpose of this locomotive. Shunting around a yard, moving stuff from one place to another, and in model form, it can do that well. So, all three areas that I tested, so slow speed performance, actual running with a train, and the detail, yeah, quite adequate for this sort of locomotive. The performance is, I'm going to say it, quite outstanding. Obviously you get your often stuttering stuff, but that's just the case with any locomotive, really. Unless it's got like 1,000 pickups and every single wheel with 1,000 wheels pick up, then, it's not going to be like top notch. And obviously there's bits of the track that I haven't cleaned. I completely forgot to clean this yard, and even on a yard that's like, not cleaned like this, and track that wasn't cleaned, it was completely fine. That is adequate for this type of model. So then, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Personally, I think this model is good, but a improved and up-to-date modern version of this model will, I'd say benefit the industry, but
would there be that big of a niche for this model? Well, possibly. Lots of modelers would buy it, wouldn't they? The 07, obviously that's an example. That was just for the southern region in real life. This was just for the Scottish region in real life. So there is a niche there in the market. So the other manufacturers, like I said, Helljan with the 07, perfect. They could do a brilliant job at making a new one of these. Or even Hornby could just improve this one, bring it up to modern standards, scale it down a bit because, is it too big? I think it's not necessarily the length of it. Or is it? It's just weird because it just looks too big for this scale. But obviously it is to this scale because, well, it has to be to fit the track. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, like I said, leave me a comment down below. Well, you don't have to, but whatever. You know the drill by now if you've watched this channel for more than 5 years at this point. Right, with that said, I'll catch you on the next one. And I'm tempted just to run this now for the next, eternity of the day. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.